Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Ashley Joyce. If you are not subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because if you're not subscribed, I'm feeling some type of way like, what the heck? We ain't subscribed? Tell them, Gio, say subscribe. We feeling some type of way. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you are not. And if you did, hello, welcome to the family. In today's video, I'm going to be attempting to tell Giovanni's birth story. This is like my 5th time trying to record, and every time I try to record, something happens, whether somebody called me, it's trying to feed them, there's something going on. So let's try to get through this story, straight to the details. This story is crazy. My birthing story was crazy. So if you want to know what happened, stay tuned. Let's get into it. So on November 19, 2022, my water broke at 5:30 a.m. I basically, when I had my 20-week scan, they told me when my water broke, I would know because I had a lot of fluid. And I had like a 22 out of 25 level. It's like 5 to 25 level of fluid. I was a 22, so I love you, my baby. But I'm just like, okay. So I woke up, I said, dang, my water must have broke. It felt like just constant fluid. I didn't like the feeling. It was weird. So I called my doctor to confirm, because I kept going back and forth. Like, is this water or is this pee? Like, I couldn't tell, even though I knew I just went to the bathroom like a couple hours before this, or maybe an hour before this. So I went to the bathroom and I'm like, yeah, that definitely had to be my water broke. It had to be. So I called my doctor. I tell her, I called Giovanni's grandmother. I tell her, and she was a neonatal nurse for many years, and she's like, yep, it sounds like your water broke. So my doctor also confirmed, and she said, get yourself together, because once you go in, you're not leaving the hospital since your water broke. So do your hair, take a relaxing bath, put on some relaxing music, just prepare yourself for this stay. I said, okay, cool. So anyway, we pretty much, like that morning, I get up, I'm trying to make me some breakfast. Water is leaking everywhere. Hate to be graphic. If you're a person who's squeamish about things, be careful. I'll maybe put a warning, because there's certain things I will say that some people may be squeamish about, but I'm not squeamish about much, so we'll get into details on here. Anyway, I'm standing up to cook eggs, and like my water is just like leaking down my legs. I'm like, okay, yeah. So I go wake up one of my roommates. I'm like, hey, Tyra, my water broke. Can you make some eggs for me? And she's like, yo, water broke. She's like panicking to get up out the bed. She's like freaking out, like, okay. She wiped like, her like sleep off her eyes and off her mouth. And she's like, okay. And she goes in the kitchen. She makes the eggs. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm fine. I didn't feel contractions yet. About maybe 6:15, I started to feel very, very, very mild contractions. And excuse the dishwasher is going. If you stop it, it'll have to restart the whole thing. It's almost done. The sun is out, so I don't have a choice but to record right now. And I also want to get a few videos in my new apartment. As you guys can see, I'm in a new place. We'll talk about that later. So anyway, she said, I'll make you some eggs. So when she finished making me some eggs around 6:15, I started feeling contractions. They were coming every 4 to 6 minutes. They were not bad. I was calling people, FaceTiming people, letting them know, like, hey, like my closest family and friends, like I'm about to go to the hospital. I'm going into labor. So anyway, we pretty much, that goes on. We go to Chick-fil-A, get some food. The food was disgusting. His dad did not like his food. I did not like my food. So we get to the hospital, and they check us in. Everything is cool. I just really hated the feeling of my water dripping down my leg. We get to the back. I didn't know how far I was as far as centimeters, because I didn't refuse, but I decided I didn't want to get checked prior to my water breaking or me entering the hospital actually in active contractions. So I didn't know what centimeters I was. So when I get to the hospital, they checked me. It was not bad. The lady, I swear, I didn't feel anything. Like, she was amazing. Everything about our hospital stay was amazing, except for the craziness that happened. So anyway, we get there, and once we get there, she checked me. She says I'm 2.5 centimeters. And from there, they pretty much prepared me to go to the back. And at this point, I'm still not having really bad contractions. They also asked me, did I want to have the wireless, what? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh, bless you, baby. Bless you, honey. Bless you. Oh, I'm my honey bone. She's so sweet. He's a sweet little boy. He's so sweet. Would you like your passy? Oh. He has eczema on his face, so he rubs it a lot too. They asked me if I wanted the wireless monitor, and I'm saying this for a reason. I said yeah. So they scrape a little of your skin off. I know that sounds weird, but it's like a nail filer type of thing, and they just scrape a little bit and they put the thing on there. And so everything was cool. Well, I noticed throughout that time they kept coming in to check, like, oh, the monitor's not working, or something going on with the wires. Like, it was always something, but it all makes sense at the end. We'll talk about that. So then she switched me to the regular, then back to the wireless. We were back and forth. Then eventually my contractions started to kick in, and I'm like, okay. So when they first came, no, wait, I just skipped the whole part. So after they hooked me to the monitors, the wireless ones, because I was already on the traditional ones since I came in, obviously. My midwife comes in and she says, okay, you're still not having contractions and your water broke many hours ago. So one of the things we have to consider, which you do not have to do, but we will consider, is starting you on Pitocin just to kind of get them started, because your water's been broken for hours and hours at this point. You're not really having contractions, not consistent or anything like that. You don't have to start it if you don't want to, but if you decide like, hey, this is something I want to do to speed up this labor, we can consider that. Obviously, we're trying to do least medical intervention as possible, but it's something to consider since you haven't had any real contractions. So at this point, my contractions were far apart. They weren't that painful. They was like little mild cramps, barely anything. So I decided, I asked her what she suggested. She suggested the Pitocin. She said, let's just start it just a little bit, and then we'll stop it immediately to see what happens. So that's exactly what we did. So we started, and maybe like, I don't know how long after, I just remember I felt my first real contraction. It got quiet in this house because, woo! I'm a person who have a very high pain tolerance. But baby, listen, let me tell you, life didn't prepare me for that. It didn't prepare me no, it did not prepare me for that. I'm the person who, I haven't taken the Tylenol since I've been an adult. I haven't taken any medication other than antibiotics when I had a sty in my eye. And that's about it. Like, I haven't taken anything. So I didn't have a plan going into the hospital. I already said before I went in, I told my midwife, like, I don't want to have a plan for as a C-section, not C-section, for as epidural or not. I just want to have it available to me if I need it. If I don't, then I won't take it. You know what I mean? I'm just willing to just see what happens because I've never had a baby before. I don't know what contractions feel like, so I can't tell you. So we'll figure out when we get there, type of thing. And I was fine with that. I love that I did that because it allowed me to have less stress. I didn't have a plan to go by. I just simply put all my trust in God's hands. And that's exactly what I did when I went through that door. So when that first contraction hit, I was like, ooh, hold on. Because at first, before that, I was on FaceTime, calling my sister, on the phone with everybody. I was fine. And that first real contraction hit from that Pitocin, because you know Pitocin makes them contractions worse, in my opinion. I was like, oh, hold on. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, Johnny, that kind of hurted. I was like, wait a minute, because it was so unreal to me how painful it was. I couldn't process it. I was like, ooh, hold on. Like, hold on. That could not have been real. Then the next one came. I was like, oh. I'm like, oh, so this is what contractions feel like. I'm like, okay, if another one coming, this is bad as this, I already am tapped out. I'm getting epidural because ain't no way, bruh. There's no way. I understand. And for all my mamas out there who decided to go natural, hey, I salute you. I am rooting for you. I am so proud of you. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I ever have more kids, I'm never having a natural birth unless I have to. Absolutely will not. I'm sorry. I am a person who don't mind pain, but I'm not purposely about to put myself through that type of pain if I don't have to. No. That's like me getting my wisdom teeth pulled and they say you want to have medicine to numb it so you don't feel it. I'm gonna be like, yeah, that's my tooth up. I want people pulling my tooth out, and I definitely want people no baby out. Like, I know that's our superpower as a woman is to be able to go through birth. But listen, having a baby, no matter how you have it, is a blessing. So, no. After that first contraction, I was like, oh. But I still was in my mind a little bit like, maybe I can. But the more they kept coming, I was like, oh no, bro, no. Get that doctor, get that nurse, tell them put this epidural in my back. But no, seriously, the contractions are getting worse. I'm like, ooh. Ooh, I'm like, you know that noise they be making? That was me. I was like, And then at one point, I was like, Jesus. I just started calling Jesus. I was like, Jesus. I was not playing. I was, Jesus. And they was probably looking at me. I was like, I don't care. Jesus. I was calling on the name of the Lord. I was genuinely calling on the name of the Lord. So as I'm saying Jesus' name, I'm calling Jesus. I look over. I said, you know what? Tell that nurse, go get the nurse. Tell her get the nurse. Tell her I'm gonna need the epidural. I get the nurse. Like, He said, okay, well just nothing, get the nurse, hurry up before another one come. But what you mean? We got no time, man. We got like 2 minutes, like hurry up. This is like the show 24, like we got 2 minutes. As the next contraction is coming, I'm like, wait, it's coming. So I'm like, give me your hand. And then like he's squeezing my hand. I'm like, okay, squeeze it harder. He's like, Ashley, I can't squeeze it any harder. I'm gonna break your hand. I said, I don't care. Break it. That's all I kept saying. I didn't care if he was to break my hand. He could have squeezed my hand, could have broke it. I don't care at that time, because the contraction hurted so bad. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I started squeezing his hand while he's squeezing mine. I'm digging my nails in there. I'm not trying to, but I'm in so much pain. I'm like, what the? I said, no. I need epidural. I want epidural. So I'm like, go get the lady, tell her to get the epidural. Go get her. So he's about to get up to go push the button. I said, push the button on that thing. Hurry up. So then I'm like, hurry up, because another gonna come. I was dreading the next one. I said, another one gonna come. And I know I wasn't breathing properly. I know all that because I was all over the place. I was not anticipating that pain. So, I mean, I knew it was gonna be bad. You know, I was already knowing it was gonna be bad, but I didn't realize, like, wow, like this is off the charts. So the nurse comes in and she's like, hi, this is right before he pushed the button. She just opened up walking because she hears us and she's wanting to check on us. Mind you, I was the only person who had a baby that day. So we had special treatment the whole day. But she's like, hi, I just want to come in and check on you. I was like, excuse me, can you get the man, the lady, whoever, to do the epidural? I want an epidural. She was like, okay. I said, can you turn off that Pitocin? Turn it off. I don't want it. Turn it off. She's like, oh, I've been turned it off. I said, oh, this is natural? She's like, yeah, like you don't have any Pitocin. I said, oh no, yeah, definitely get the epidural. Definitely get the epidural. Because if this is how it's feeling and my body is naturally doing this, oh no, get the man, the woman, that epidural in my back. Put it in my back right now. I'm sorry, Gio. So she's like, okay. Well, the doctor said you're free to get it whenever you want it, so we'll go get it. I was 4.5 centimeters. And the man was taking too long. I kept saying, like, how long will he be here? She's like, 10 minutes. I said, 10 minutes. No, 15. I'm like, 15 minutes. That's like 5 more, 6 more, 7 more contractions. She's like, I don't know how I'm gonna do that. Like, I'm gonna need him to hurry up. Can you tell him it's an emergency? So she's like, I'm sorry, he has to come in because there's nobody else here who's having a baby, so he has to literally come in. I said, oh my gosh, how am I gonna get through these? Oh, here come another one. Oh gosh. I was like, oh gosh, here. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, God, why would you do this? I'm like literally talking through these like this, like, Lord Jesus, why? Like, why you, like, who even thinking this type of pain? Like, I'm like literally like going through it, right? But I'm like calm at the same time because I knew if I lost it, I would lose it all the way. So next thing I know, while we're sitting there waiting for the man and I'm constantly going through it, he walks through the door. As soon as he walks through the door, I said, oh, there you go. I said, okay, yep, I'm ready. Put that door. I'm ready to put that door. I'm ready for that door. He's like, okay, ma'am, but first I have to have you consent. I said, I consent. He said, no, I have to read you the consent form. Read you with your consent. I said, I don't care. I consent. Everything. It could have said I was going to turn into a zebra afterwards. I didn't give a crap. I said, I consent. I don't care. I could turn into a cage after this. I consent. I could turn into a leopard, a dinosaur. Consent. Put that epidural in my back right now. He saying what he's saying. I consent. Consent. He come over. He's okay. He said, this may be a little painful. Just let me know if it does. Do not move. Because if you move, you can get paralyzed. I'm like, ooh, okay, I can move. Just put it in my back. And, you know, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna be worse than what I'm feeling right now. So go ahead, just do it. Just do your thing. So, sorry. But then another contraction was coming when he got done cleaning me off, and he kind of got the tape on there. So the nurse is right in front of me. Her arms are like right here across mine, and we're like face to face. And she's like, "You can do this, mama. Just breathe." I'm like, I said, I give up. I literally sunk into her. I just let my whole body go. The next contraction was coming because I'm like, hurry up, put it in there for the contraction coming. He said, we're gonna have to let this last contraction pass first. I said, so I sink into her and I just like gave up. I was like, I quit. I can't even fight these contractions anymore. They're too painful. I can't do it no more. So I literally just give up and I just sunk into her. And she said, there you go. That's how you do it. If you want to have a natural birth, like, not saying you have to do it now, but if you decide in the future, or if you decide now, that's how you do it. You just give in and you breathe and you let your body do what it's meant to do. I said, no. This is the only one I'm giving in to, sir. You done? Hurry, put that thing in my back. I'm done. So he put it in my back. And so I'm like, how long will this take to kick in? He said about 5 to 15 minutes, depending on your body. I said, 5. I'm like, absolutely, what? Like, no, ain't no way. Like, I'm, you know, like, I'm going to do this again for 5, 15 minutes. Ain't nobody trying to do that. So then she's like, well, did you feel that contraction? I said, I ain't feel nothing. She's like, what about that one? I I said, there's another one? She's like, mm-hmm. Another minute go by, what about that one? I said, I didn't feel a thing. I said, maybe a little tingle on the side, because I think it was my left side didn't fully take, but it basically just felt like a slight tingle. It wasn't bad. It's even to push the button where it come out. I pushed the button. I think I pushed it too much because I did not I pushed it once, but I shouldn't have pushed it because I didn't want my feet to go numb. I was so scared about my feet going numb. So I kept making them rub. They were rubbing my feet. They were moving my feet around because I was so scared of my feet going numb for some reason. And so they kept trying to keep it as unnumb as possible, which was so helpful. They had me in every position. They had me every which way. So at this point, I'm 4.5 centimeters. The doctor comes in. She's the one who checked me. Everything seemed to be going fine. And then an hour go by. They come to check me again because my fluid was low, because obviously my water broke at this point hours prior. At this point, maybe 12 hours prior. They check in, and she's like, the nurse is like, I don't feel your cervix. I'm like, oh, maybe it's the way I'm sitting, so I'm trying to move around. She said, no. I mean, like, you're like 9.5 centimeters. I'm like, what? So I went from a 4.5, because I just text everybody, like, hey, everybody, I'm a 4.5, to a 9.5 in 1 hour. And I'm like, what the heck? And the baby was still not quite moving down. So they were like, okay, let's try to switch positions, get him to move down. They're trying all these things or whatever. And then next thing I know, the doctor's coming in and out, and there's things on the monitor she doesn't like. Now, mind you, I had on this wireless monitor. They're thinking it's a wireless monitor, so they put me on a regular monitor. It was still acting weird, so they put me on the other monitor. Then they're starting to notice his heart rate is acting weird, so they didn't tell me that quite. They just said, he's not liking birth. He's not liking, labor. So then they put fluid up there because they're like, your water being broke. Maybe that's the issue. And that didn't really work. They had me on all fours. For like hours they were trying. So at one point she comes and she sits on the edge of the bed. And the one thing I didn't want was a C-section. She says, Ashley, I know you didn't want a C-section, but if we can't get baby to move down, we may have to consider a C-section because baby's not really liking birth. We're going to give him a chance to see if he'll move down. We really want to give him a chance. So we're going to try all these positions and see what will help. So that's exactly what they did. They tried all these other positions. They literally had me on all fours. They had me on my back, on my side, just everything. And they were just trying everything to get him to move down. But in the end, it didn't work. He just was not moving down. Now, this is where the scary part began. So as he is pretty much like they're doing all this stuff, I remember the doctor comes back and she sits on the edge of the bed and she says to me, all right, so I know we were trying to avoid a C-section, but baby is really not liking birth, so we will have to do an emergency C-section. Now, here, father, she said, here, dad, here's a gown, put it on right now. We're going to go head down. She's so calm. And I don't realize how bad it is until I hear the surgeon on the right of me looking at everything. And she's not talking to me. I'm just being nosy trying to hear what she's saying. And I'm listening. And I hear her say to the other lady, I do not like this. We need to move now. And she's whispering, we need to move now, right now. And when she say that, my heart immediately dropped. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I'm freaking out. Like, what's going on? Like, whatever. So then while she's talking to him, she's like, Dad, get dressed. We gotta go. And everybody's getting dressed so fast. I look around. Everybody's frantically getting dressed. They're getting dressed in the hallway. Then we end up in the OR, and they're like, get her numb, get her numb, get her numb. Talking to the anesthesiologist. If you can't get her numb right now, put her under, put her under, put her under. He's like, I'm gonna try to get her numb. Stat, I'm gonna try to get her numb. Is she numb? She's numb. Dump it. Dump. This is all I'm hearing. I'm like, I'm scared. Like, the nurse is behind me holding me like, it's okay, baby. Like, so sweet. It's okay, honey. Rocking me. She has my arms. It's okay. It's okay. We got you. We're all here together. And then the anesthesiologist holds my hand. He's like, we got this, mama. God got you. We got this. I'm like, okay, but I'm scared. And then Giovanni's dad, he's sitting there like, you got this, Ashley. We're all like right there together. And they're like, dump it, dump it, dump it. Get him out, get him out. I'm like, okay, I'm freaking out. What's going on? What's going on over there? Next thing I know, he's pulled out. They pulled him out. That all happened within 5 minutes. When they get him out, they say, he's fine. Everything was fine with him. They stitch me up, and I'm like constantly asking questions like, are y'all done? Are y'all almost done? I was just so scared, but the baby was fine. I was so out of it because I do remember I kept asking questions, and when the anesthesiologist could tell that I was like freaking out, so I don't know what he put in my IV, but I just know I felt like, ooh, right after that, like I was out of it. out of it. And I'm like, what did you put in the IV? I'm like, that burns. He said, no, I didn't put nothing but saline. I said, no. And I was just, after that, I was like, hence the picture of how I looked after the baby was born. And so after that, I can hear everything, you know, I was out of it, but I could hear everything. I was 100% aware. But I remember saying, how long? Are you almost done? What about now? What about now? You almost done? I kept asking that, like, tell me, like, y'all got like 5 more minutes for y'all done stitching me up? Like 2 more minutes? Like, just give me a time frame. Like, I couldn't stop asking. I was so scared I wanted her to be done. But she's like, we're gonna do this right. You got this. We're gonna do this right. Just a little bit longer. I'm like, well, how much longer? Like 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds. Like, I was. So eventually they asked Johnny, they were like, what is her favorite song? And I don't really remember them asking him this, but he told me this part, but I do remember them playing one of my favorite songs, which is Jara, you're enough. And that will be content, even if in every circumstance you're my provider. Yeah, you're my provider. You are. I remember hearing that song. So to this day, that song is like, I can feel like going back to that moment, because I remember them playing it multiple times, because they were like, when the song is off, then it will be done. But they had to keep replaying it because the song is only 2 minutes and 50 seconds or 2 minutes and 7 seconds long. So anyway, they finally finished, and I go back to the room, and the baby's doing good. He immediately breastfeeds. He immediately latched. My mom was there, you know, Giovanni, both his grandmothers were there. And all of us there, and I guess I was kind of out of it. I was starving. So I kept asking people, y'all hungry? Y'all want some pizza? I barely remember this, but I remember this. But I offered everybody pizza. I was trying to get their toppings. Like, what y'all want? Tell me what you want. Y'all want some sushi? Like, I'm like offering all of them pizza and sushi and stuff. So anyway, everything was fine. Everybody leaves, just me, you know, Johnny and the baby. We're just there. Everything is going good. The baby is doing well. He didn't have any issues other than he had a little bit of not even high, he had a little bit elevated bilirubin, which is from the liver. So they said, you know, by me breastfeeding and giving him formula at the time, because I was kind of out of it, but they were giving him breast milk and formula just to kind of get rid of some of that bilirubin, and it was working, but they wanted to keep monitoring it. It went up at one point, but it went back down before we left, but it was still a little bit elevated, so we had to go back a week later, and it was fine. So anyway, so he never had to have treatment for anything, is what I'm trying to say. So long story short, you know, a couple hours go by, so everything is going good at this point. The baby's doing good. Hold on, y'all, I'm oily. So anyway, everything's doing good. The baby is doing great. I'm doing fine, and we're just resting. And the nurse comes in and she looks at my monitor and she says, okay, everything looks good. And then she leaves, and then she comes back and she says, hold on, let me switch your blood pressure cuff for a second. I think something's wrong with this cuff. She switches it. Let me try one more. She tries another one. Let me talk to your doctor really quick. I'm thinking, oh gosh, what now? So she leaves out and she comes back. And when she comes back, there's like 10 people with her. And I'm like, what the freak? And in my mind, I'm like, please, because she was checking my blood pressure. Don't tell me my blood pressure's too low, or don't tell me, even worse, I have preeclampsia. What do you think? Of course, I have preeclampsia. So they're like, I'm sorry, unfortunately, we have to do some blood work to see what's going on. Your blood pressure is really, really high. It just went high out of nowhere. Your pressure was normal this entire time and it just shot up. So we got to see what's going on. So they do blood work on me immediately. They come back within 10 minutes, like 15 minutes maybe, like, hey, unfortunately, you do have preeclampsia. We're not sure why it debuffed out of nowhere, but it did. And thank goodness we caught it right early. We're going to get you back right. They were asking me about all these symptoms. Did I have double vision? Was I having headaches? And I'm like, no. They put seizure pads on the side of my head, which I didn't know were seizure pads till before I was about to leave, and I was wondering what those things were. They kept falling off, and oh, those were seizure pads, because apparently I couldn't have a seizure or anything like that. So anyway, they tried blood pressure medication. It didn't work. My liver was failing. My kidneys weren't functioning. All the symptoms of preeclampsia, high blood pressure, I had all of it. Protein in my urine. So, and I didn't have none of this before I went into labor. So it literally happened 2 hours after I had them. And what's crazy is I do remember at one point when they were doing a C-section, I felt this very sharp pain underneath my right boob. I remember that. And it's crazy because I even asked the nurse, I said, ow, 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 I feel a sharp pain under my boob. It's very sharp. And she said, oh, I think this is because they were pulling him out at that point. But I'm pretty sure that was a sign, because I know they tell you that when you're pregnant to look out for that as one sign of preeclampsia. And I had that sign when I was going in labor, like when I actually was on my C-section. So anyway, they gave me the medication, blood pressure medication. My blood pressure was not going down. One second. My blood pressure was not going down. So they were like, unfortunately, we will have to give you magnesium, which can make you feel really sick. You can't walk for 24 hours. Like, you can't get up while you're on this medication. It's pretty serious medication to be on. So we have to monitor you, do blood work, check, make sure it's not too high of levels in your system. It was a lot. And all I can think of was like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot. So after that, they stabilized my pressure in an hour. So I was on magnesium for 24 hours. And they told me it can make you feel really hot, it can make you feel nauseous, just all these symptoms, like flu-like symptoms. And I was waiting for those symptoms, but I remember I prayed hard to God, like, God, please, I don't want any symptoms. I just want to section. I got to deal with this. So I'm just like, oh, here we go. But God was good. I didn't have any symptoms, none when it came from the magnesium. And if I felt hot from it, I wouldn't have known. I'm always hot. I'm hot now. I have my air off right now so I can record this video. I'm burning up. I'm always hot. So I wouldn't have noticed that symptom if that was a symptom. But the one scary symptom that I did have, however, was I remember I was looking at the glove box. And I told the nurse, I said, why do y'all have 2 glove boxes stacked on top of each other like that? That's a lot of gloves in there. It's like a lot. You know, it was like a joke, but I was serious. She looked at me and said, you see 2 glove boxes? Like compartments, because they had like 4 glove parts to each. So it was like a line and it had 4 glove box. Like it was one of them. They had large, medium, small, large, medium, extra large. But I seen 2 of them stacked on top of each other. And I said, that's a lot of gloves. And she said, you see 2 stacked on each other? All right, yeah, she definitely had preeclampsia because I had double vision. I was seeing double. I didn't know. I'm like, that was scary. She said it'll go away eventually, you know, once the medication kind of calm everything down, but I was freaked out by that symptom. So anyway, time goes on, everything is starting to resume back to normal. They get my blood pressure stable. My feet were swollen at this point. I didn't have swollen feet at all during my pregnancy, but my feet swelled like an elephant. Every time I stood up, they were so swollen. It felt like I was walking on water. I had some amazing doctors, amazing midwives, amazing nurses. We had the best stay. I was there for 5 days and every day was amazing. I mean, the food was great. The nurses had the best attitude. They were so kind. They were so loving. They were loving on us. Like, it was amazing. God was so good. God is so good. He is so good. He protected me, protected Gio. We almost lost Gio, by the way. They said that the reason why they had the emergency C-section is because his heart rate was dropping so fast. If we waited even one more minute, we would have lost him. Obviously, I was dealing with a preeclampsia. They could have lost me. They said that was very life-threatening. So thank God they caught it when they did. But by me having a C-section, they were monitoring me constantly. So that's how they caught it so quickly and they treated it so quickly. But my blood pressure was still up. They said it can take a while for it to kind of return to normal. So I was on 2 different blood pressure medications. And because I'm African-American, there was some medications that are better for us than others. And they, even though they weren't African-American, they completely like pointed that out to me and were like very transparent about it. And I loved how they advocated for me on every level. So the day before Thanksgiving, which is actually the day of his due date was November the 23rd. I actually left the hospital that day. So I was on the 19th, the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. I left that night. Halloween. We didn't really get to celebrate Thanksgiving, but I was home with my family and my sweet little bundle of joy. And my blood pressure was still high. But after that C-section, it was tough for me because I don't like taking medication. So I had to like force myself to take I only ended up taking the ibuprofen 600 milligrams, and I took that once a day, and that actually was enough for me. One day I forgot to take it and I was in the worst pain. I was literally crying. I've never felt a pain like that in my life. I was crying, regretting not taking that medication. I took it, but it was taking a while to come and work. So after that, I then had to go to the hospital or the doctor every week, and I had a couple of hospital ER visits because my pressure shot up really high out of nowhere. The medication for some reason didn't catch it or didn't work. But then I weaned off. I started to wing off too pretty quickly. My blood pressure started to return to normal after about a week, but they had to wean me off slowly because if I got off both medications, it would constantly jump up, elevate. So they kept monitoring me, and at week 3, I think it was, about week 3, week 4, I was completely off the blood pressure medication. They thought it was gonna take me 6 weeks. That's typically how long they said it take, but by the grace of God, it took me about a month. And honestly, I was kind of like back to normal at that point. Like I felt pretty much like myself. I can move, I can lift up stuff. I made it even not supposed to, but I was when I do my Arizona video update about Arizona. So anyway, Gio was healthy. He's great. He's doing good. Some stats about him. He's currently just turned 5 months a few days ago. He is 16 pounds, 2 ounces. He just recently had his tongue tie cut on actually the day that he turned 5 months. He had his tongue tie. We found out he had a tongue tie, which I assumed he had one because since he was in the hospital, he had this little blister on his lip. Come to find out that was just a birthmark. And he still has it. You can kind of see it like right there. I think the little red mark, that's a blister. So he has a congenital birthmark, which I found out when he got his tongue tie cut. But he is doing so good. He is a sweet, lovable little baby. The biggest blessing. The crazy thing is his name Giovanni means John. In the book of John, it talks about Elizabeth, how she wasn't able to conceive, but she conceived John, and it was a blessing. And so same thing with Gio. Just because of how good God is. Now, I would never recommend anybody to have a baby out of wedlock. Even though I had a baby out of wedlock, I still would not recommend it. I believe you should follow the Bible. Gio is a miracle because 1, I was technically infertile on paper, and 2, he was the product of a one-time slip-up. I mean, listen, I still am currently celibate. I'm waiting till marriage. That was a one-time slip-up, and in 2 years technically, that was him. He was that one-time slip-up. So I'm just grateful. I repented when I did have my slip-up. I repented, but God blessed me because God is good. It wasn't because of me. When nothing that I did, when nothing that I didn't do, it was just because God is so good. And he blessed me with this little miracle. I never thought I would have a baby. I thought that we would have to have a surrogate. So this story is special to me because I never thought that this would even be a story for me. I genuinely never thought there would be a day that I would get to sit down and talk on YouTube about my labor and delivery story. And look at how good God is. He blessed me with this sweet little baby boy. And he is the best thing that has ever happened to me. He's knocked out. I'm surprised he's still asleep because but he's so sweet. He is so sweet. Everybody loves him. He's so sweet to everyone. He loves to smile. He's the smiliest baby. He literally smiled an hour after he was born. The nurse was like, oh my gosh, look, he's smiling. And I have so many pictures and videos from when he was in the hospital, day 1, day 2, day 3, all up until now. He's just smiling. You look at him, he's smiling. I think what's even crazier is I was going through a lot in my pregnancy, and I remember I asked God, I said, please, like, I just want to smile. I just want to laugh. I just need some good times and good like, peace. And I feel like his smiling is like a reminder to me that God is near, that he hears me, he heard me, and every time he smiles, it's like a reminder, like, I heard you, I'm here, and I'm with you. So for anybody who is pregnant or going through pregnancy or about to deliver, just know God is good. Keep him first. Pray throughout your entire pregnancy. Pray throughout the birth. Pray for the doctors and nurses, the facility that you're in, and let God take lead. And I promise you, no matter what happened, God is good. So all that to say, I am blessed with this beautiful boy, Giovanni, which means God is gracious. And God is very gracious. He is good. He is a good God, a loving God, and he cares for us. So anybody who's dealing with fertility issues, know that there is hope. I am telling you right now, there is hope. I was told that I may never have kids. I've had a miscarriage 8 years ago, and I was living in my sinful nature for all those years, and I've never gotten pregnant but one time. And so it's crazy how God works. I was sure of it, like I can't have kids. I just knew it. But God said, I have to say. So for anybody dealing with fertility issues, trust God. No matter how he brings about your blessing. It could be from you, it could be from a surrogate, it could be from, adoption, whatever that looks like. It is a blessing, no matter how or what. So But also don't lose hope, because when the time is right, if it is in his plans for your life, he will bless you with a miracle child. So, and all of us are miracles, honestly, when you think about it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to my story. I appreciate y'all. I won't be on YouTube much. I am still not ready to fully return back. I don't know if I ever will, honestly. Ever since I've been taking this social media break, it really got me into a place of just wanting to post very meaningful content, not just random content. I only will be posting things that have meaning to me, things that I want to look back on, not just random stuff. So that's just kind of where I'm at. I just really want to start doing, like I say, more videos on here that have meaning, which will be about motherhood, faith, and anything healthy. That'll be the things that I post when I do. My next video I'm going to post is going to be all about his tongue tie revision. So if you want to see that, stay tuned and check out that video for any mamas out there who have kids with a tongue tie, so I can tell you about my breastfeeding journey and how that tongue tie played a huge role in that. And I'm sorry, I haven't recorded in a while, and I'm not re-recording this video. If I've been looking at myself versus it's been a while. So I love y'all. If y'all want to see more videos and content like this, make sure you subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And I will see y'all in my next video. Peace.